Imagine this. You wake up one morning, stretch, check your phone, and think a completely normal thought.
Huh? What's going on?
I am inside my head. Feels obvious, right? Safe, logical, comforting. Your thoughts are in your brain. Your consciousness lives somewhere behind your eyes and between the ears. There's a you sitting in there, watching everything like a tiny manager of reality. Except, what if that's completely wrong? Not slightly wrong. Not we'll adjust a few details.
No.
But fundamentally, deeply, almost comically wrong. What if consciousness is not in your brain at all? What? Okay, let's not panic. Actually, no, panic a little. It makes this more fun. Because here's where things get strange. Yes, stranger. You've never seen your own brain, not directly. You've seen images, scans, diagrams, beautiful, colorful pictures that look like modern art pretending to be science. But your actual experience? It's not neurons firing. It's not electrical signals. It's this continuous stream of thoughts, sensations, images, feelings, memories, and occasional existential dread at 2 a.m. Now here's the problem. Science can point to brain activity. It can say, when this area lights up, you feel fear. When that area activates, you remember your childhood. When this network changes, your personality shifts. Very impressive. But here's the awkward question nobody answers cleanly. Why does any of that feel like something? Why is there an experience at all? Why isn't your brain just doing things silently like a computer running in a basement no one visits? Because right now, something is happening. You are aware. And that awareness is not something we can easily point to. We can measure the brain. We can scan it. We can map it. But we cannot find the exact place where you are. It's like searching a city for the location of traffic. Traffic is real. You can see it. You can measure it. But you can't point to a single spot and say, that's where traffic lives. So what if consciousness is like that? Not located, not contained, but happening. Now let's make it worse. Or better. Depends on your mood. What if your brain doesn't produce consciousness? What if it filters it? Think about that for a second. A radio does not create music, it receives it. A TV does not invent shows, it decodes signals. So what if your brain is not the source of consciousness, but the receiver? Which immediately raises a slightly uncomfortable question. Where is the signal coming from? Now, before you start imagining cosmic Wi-Fi routers floating in space, relax. We don't know. That's the fun part. But let's follow the idea. If consciousness is not produced by the brain, but accessed through it, then damaging the brain wouldn't destroy consciousness. It would just distort the signal. And guess what? That's exactly what we observe. Brain injuries don't erase awareness completely. They change it, alter it, filter it differently, like a broken radio that still plays music, just badly. Now let's take a darker turn. If consciousness is not in your brain, then where are you? Are you in your body, in your environment, somewhere else?
This is my quest, you bucket of bolts! Negative. My protocols override your quest. What is this place?
Or are you not located anywhere at all? Just a process, a perspective, a temporary viewpoint in something much larger. Which sounds poetic, until you realize it also means you might not be as contained as you think. Now here's where things get slightly terrifying. What if your brain is not showing you reality, but hiding most of it? Think about your senses. You see a tiny slice of the electromagnetic spectrum. You hear a limited range of frequencies. You feel only certain types of physical interaction. Your brain is constantly filtering, simplifying, compressing. Why? Because reality is too much, too complex, too overwhelming. So your brain gives you a version of it, a manageable version, a user interface, like icons on a screen. You don't see the code, you see a folder. You don't see electrons, you see a solid object. You don't see reality, you see a representation. Which leads to a very uncomfortable possibility. What if everything you experience is not reality itself, but a simplified, survival-friendly illusion? And if that's true, then your consciousness is not in the world you see. It's interacting with something far deeper. Now let's go even further, because why not? What if consciousness is not something you have, but something you are inside of? Flip it. Instead of you are conscious, try you are in consciousness. Like a character in a story or in a movie.
Stop it.
Like a wave in an ocean. The wave thinks it's separate. It has a shape, a movement, a lifespan. But it's not separate. It's the ocean doing something. So what if you are not a mind inside a body, but a temporary pattern inside a much larger field of awareness, which is either deeply spiritual or deeply confusing, or both? Now, let's add some science back into this chaos. There are serious theories, real ones, not just late-night thoughts after too much coffee, that suggest consciousness might be fundamental. Not created, not emergent, but basic, like space, like time, like the rules of the game itself. Which means the universe might not just contain consciousness, it might be built with it, or made of it, or dependent on it. And suddenly, everything feels a little less solid. Now let's inject some humor before we all dissolve into philosophical vapor. Imagine explaining this to someone. So your thoughts might not be in your brain. Your brain might just be filtering a larger consciousness that you're part of, and reality might be a simplified interface your mind created to survive. Them. I just asked what time it is. You. Time is also questionable. Them. I regret asking. Now here's the twist. Even if all of this sounds insane, we still don't have a better explanation. We don't know how matter creates experience. We don't know why awareness exists. We don't know where you are located. We just have models. Actually, not these, but also good ones, useful ones, but still incomplete. And that's where things get interesting, because the mystery is not a problem. It's a doorway. The fact that we don't understand consciousness means there is something deeper to explore. Something beyond current science. Something beyond current philosophy. Something that might completely change how we see ourselves. And maybe, just maybe, that's already happening, slowly, quietly, in the background. Because every time you notice your thoughts, every time you step back and observe your own mind, you're doing something very strange. You're watching the thing that's supposed to be doing the watching, which is either a glitch or a feature. Now let's end this somewhere slightly less terrifying. Or at least slightly more hopeful. Because yes, maybe consciousness is not in your brain. Maybe reality is not what it seems. Maybe you are not as solid, as separate, or as simple as you thought. But here's the beautiful part. That doesn't make things meaningless. It makes them more interesting, more open, more alive. Because if we don't know what consciousness is, then the story is not finished. If we don't know where it comes from, then anything is still possible. And if reality is deeper than we think, then we're only scratching the surface. So instead of being afraid of not knowing, maybe we should enjoy it. Because right now, you are experiencing something incredible, not fully understood, not fully explained, but undeniably real. You are aware, and that alone is one of the greatest mysteries in the universe. So the next time you have a thought, pause for a second and ask yourself,
Where did that come from?
and more importantly, who is asking the question? Because that right there is where things start to get really interesting. And trust me, this is just the beginning. Because if you think this idea is strange, you haven't seen anything yet. There are theories, possibilities, and mind-bending ideas ahead that will make this look simple. So stay curious, stay slightly uncomfortable, and get ready. Because in the next videos, we're going even deeper. And it only gets weirder from here.